I just spent all weekend finishing Super Mario RPG for the very first time, and I think I finally get it now. Let's talk about it. Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games. Today I'm going to be reviewing Super Mario RPG because I just spent the entire night playing it straight. I think I played it for actually 12 hours straight and finished it, which we will talk about that at length. But what do I mean by I get it now? Well, I grew up playing games like Super Paper Mario, but also Thousand Year Door. I had Bowser's Inside Story on the DS, and I always enjoyed all of these games. But Super Paper Mario was the standout for me. I really love that game. I like the gameplay, I like the characters, I like the world, I like the flip being into 2D and 3D. I thought that game was fantastic. And then I played Sticker Star as a kid, and I thought that was fine, even though it wasn't as good as Super Paper Mario, but I enjoyed it. And then I played Color Splash, and that was obviously better than Sticker Star, and then Origami King I just didn't really get into. But there's been this whole thing online of like Mario RPGs, the Mario mandate, how everything feels sterile now, and I always thought that was kind of dumb, like people complaining about it, because I was like, listen, like yeah, Super Paper Mario's good and Thousand Year Door is good, but I always thought it was a little bit overblown how much people were negative about the more recent Paper Mario RPGs. But last year, I played Paper Mario 64 for the first time, and it quickly became my favorite Paper Mario game. And now I've played Super Mario RPG for the first time through this fantastic remake from Nintendo and Square Enix, and I have to say I finally I get it now. I understand. I understand this whole thing with the Mario community and RPGs and how frustrating it must have been for you guys. I know I'm kind of like just jumping in with you now. I haven't really felt those hardships that you were feeling when it comes to Mario RPGs not being what they could be, but now that I've played 64, now that I've played RPG, now that we're getting Thousand Year Door remake next year, and that will be my first time beating the game. I did play it when I was very young, but I never finished it. I get it now. This game, Mario RPG, is so freaking good and full of character and little animation quirks and just the presentation in general, the music, the locations, even the gameplay, which is pretty simple. It's all such a nice, refined package. It makes modern Paper Mario RPGs, if you even want to call them that, just look so much worse in comparison. And I love the writing of Color Splash, and Origami King has good writing too. And heck, I'm even going to go as far as to say I like Sticker Star. I still think it's a fun game. But when it comes to that personality, those little moments, I know it's stupid, but the toads with the hair and the different hats, it really does add a lot. So let's go ahead and start talking about this remake as a whole. But before that, I do want to say just a huge shout out to Square Enix. I tweeted this out. They casually just released 2 of the greatest RPG remakes of all time back to back. No one's talking about that. I know technically Square Enix didn't do it. This is, I believe, Tri-Aces, and this is what Art Piazza, but still under Square Enix, even though they don't own them. You get what I'm saying, right? So huge shout out to them. They just casually dropped 2 of the greatest remakes of any RPG ever. I haven't played too much Star Ocean, but from the couple hours I did play, really freaking good. So just wanted to give them applause where to do. But yeah, let's get into Super Mario RPG. I do want to start with the visuals and just kind of the actual remake aspects itself. Obviously, I haven't played the original on SNES. I always thought, you know, like looking at gameplay of it and seeing it on the SNES Classic and that kind of stuff, I always thought it looked really good for an SNES game, I will say. That like 3D pseudo, kind of like Donkey Kong Country, almost style that it had going for it. I always thought it looked really good, but this remake looks fantastic. Not quite a Link's Awakening style remake, but still that kind of more chibi, cutesy art style. And as a Mario fan, it's just nice to see something that looks different, you know? This kind of started with Mario Wonder, but I feel like it's especially true here, where Mario's looked the same for the past decade, right? I guess the last game where he really looked different would have been Paper Jam, like the last new game. So we haven't had a different looking Mario game in quite some time, so to have this just kind of separate itself with a new visual identity is really nice, and I love the art style. I love the visual overhaul across the board, the world map, everything, all the different areas. They all look fantastic. But what really impressed me with this game, and I mean, honestly, it's such a small thing, but it goes so far to making this game memorable and just something that really stands out, is just all the little animations. The way Mario will recount stories without text, you know, because Mario doesn't speak in this game, but, you know, if he's talking to the Chancellor Toad, I think that's what it is, right? And he's trying to say what happened when Bowser kidnapped Peach, right? he does these quirky little animations, and he's running around all zipping and zapping, and it's just really funny. Or like when Mallow, there's one scene, I think I have a clip of it, I'll try to put up, where there's like a flood coming through this gate that Mario opened, and he like jumps on Mallow, and Mallow's face just looks like he wants to absolutely strangle Mario. It's these little things. It's just the dancing star, the dancing pink star, and Monster Town. It's all of these little things that add up to make such a memorable experience. And there's just so much love and care put into every little area. It's just so good. And talking about that personality, the enemies and the characters as well. We'll talk a little bit more about Mallow and Geno in a little bit, but the enemies, I mean, there is some stuff that's like, okay, it's a little dumb, like little hammers towards the end of the game, but like, it fits. It does work. This game has its own identity, and seeing someone like Booster, who isn't that integral to like the overarching plot, each little section of this game has its own focus. Like when you're on the sea ship and there's like the shark pirate dude, right? Every chapter of this game, if you want to call it a chapter, every time you're going for a new star, there's always like a little story being told with a different character, and it's just really well done. And even though, like, for example, Booster, he's only really there during that one part of the game, he leaves a mark, he leaves an impression, because Booster, it's freaking Booster, bro. How can you not love Booster? Also, I just have to say, the music in this game is absolutely incredible. I've always known that, to be fair. Yoko Shimomura has always been a favorite of mine, and I've used Mario RPG music in the background on my videos in the past, so I've always been a fan of the soundtrack, but actually experiencing it with the context of the game, and just kind of going through these areas, the town musics and all that, just fantastic. Forest Maze, obviously. Just an absolutely goated soundtrack. And yeah, let's talk a little bit about the characters here. So I am coming at this from the perspective of, I've only really heard people talk about Mario RPG through the lens of, oh, it's a really great Mario RPG before Paper Mario, or, oh, we want Geno and Smash. Those are like the two camps that you hear people talk about this game through. And the more prominent one, of course, is wanting Geno and Smash. I always thought Geno was like way more integral to this game, and he is. I don't want to downplay Geno here, but I had never even really heard of Mallow until maybe a couple years ago, because no one's ever really asked for Mallow and Smash. No one's ever really cared about Mallow. They don't bring him up. Mallow's one of like the best Nintendo characters, or Mario characters. I freaking love Mallow, dude. What an absolute goated character. Just this little cloud prince boy. My girlfriend was watching me play the game, and she was like, huh, he's kind of like Goku a little bit, with like the frog grandpa and all that stuff. No spoilers, of course. He kind of has a similar backstory to Goku, which is really interesting. And just seeing his journey, I mean, you know, of course Mario's the main character, but honestly, I feel like Mallow's the main character of this game. I know Geno's also important, and then of course you have Bowser and Peach in there, but I really do feel like this is Mallow's game, and they do a great job with his little character arc, if you want to call it that, throughout the story. It is a RPG. This is the first Mario RPG, so the story itself, it's pretty light, you know, there's not anything super crazy. Like I said, it's pretty segmented by chapter or by star that you get, but it's an enjoyable story, a little romp all the way through. Just a nice adventure with Mario and friends. I love whenever Bowser has to explain himself as to why he's helping Mario too. That's just fun. It is funny. Nintendo keeps marketing games by saying that Bowser's teaming up with Mario. What's going on? You can't keep marketing games like that, Nintendo. How many times has Bowser teamed up with Mario at this point? So that's a little funny. But either way, I like whenever he has to like explain like, he's one of my Bowser minions, you know, that kind of stuff. And to see him like actually like Loki have a little bit of a friendship there. That's really cool. Because was there a Mario game before this where Mario and Bowser had teamed up? I don't think so. So I love all the characters, the story is really fun. I also have to quickly applaud the length of this game. I did not know how long this was. I was expecting like 20 hours, maybe 25 hours, just based on, it's an RPG, but it's Mario, so you have to have a little bit of a shorter length there. It took me like 10 hours to beat it. Perfectly okay with that. I think this is the perfect length for a video game. There's the perfect amount of little side content you can do, and the perfect amount of just actual story stuff. I know some people might have an issue with paying $60 for a 10-hour story. For me, that is perfect. I beat it in a weekend, and it left a very, very positive mark on me. I hate when games drag, especially when you get to like that latter half, and it's just like, okay, let's wrap this up. I never like when that happens in games. I'm not saying I don't want more of this game, but I think just another 10-hour Mario RPG sequel would be perfect. You know, I think there's something very nice about just the story being 10 hours and then that's it. And if you want to do the extra content, the secret boss, all that stuff, you can do that. But the story itself, if you just want to be in and out, is 10 hours, and that's beautiful. Let's talk about the gameplay a little bit. So, pretty basic turn-based combat here. I do like what they have going on with the timed attacks, although it feels a little weird. I will say this game overall is very basic, of course. It is, I've seen people talk about this on Twitter, it's baby's first RPG. That's fine, I'm okay with that. there's not much strategy. You know, the game is very easy. I played it on normal, but there is also an easier difficulty. I saw some people saying maybe they should have added a hard mode. I wanted to play that, but I could agree that having it as an option would have been nice. There's not much strategy, and when I say that, I mean when you time an attack nicely and you like press the A button in tune with like Mario's hammer, for example, you do residual damage to all the enemies in the surrounding area. It doesn't matter what attack you use, if you time your attack right, it will damage every enemy on screen. And sometimes they have these like layouts where it's like, okay, there's 3 enemies in the back and 2 enemies in the front, and it feels like there was supposed to be more going on with that, like actual like strategy, like, okay, if you attack the enemy in the far right corner, it'll only damage the person next to it and the person in front of it, but no, it just damages everybody. So I feel like the gameplay could have been a little bit deeper in that regard, but, you know, not a huge complaint. I do enjoy, like, it's a basic RPG, so just know that going into it. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I can see also some complaints there of, like, it's a little too basic. You also have these special moves, which use FP, which are basically magic. I mean, they're cool, but once again, doesn't really feel that necessary. I was always having issue doing my timing right with Geno specifically, so I would almost never waste my special with him, which I know you're supposed to because he's like a magic person, but I don't know. I pretty much just stuck to basic attacks, I'll be honest, unless it was like a huge group of enemies and it's like, okay, then I'll do, Geno has one like spear bomb type move where he throws it down on everybody. And then of course there's also the triple attacks, which are really cool, and this kind of goes back to the presentation of this game. When you do these special attacks or these triple attacks, you have different cutscenes, and these cutscenes are so high quality. I genuinely, they might be the highest quality like Mario rendered video game cutscenes ever. They're really good. Just seeing like Mallow do stuff, or Mario and Peach floating down her parasol, just really high quality cutscenes, and having these different combos with your different team compositions, having a different special attack for that is really cool. And once again, kind of basic, but I do like that there is a leveling system here. There is equipment and gear. Even your attacks do change based on what gear you use. So like Bowser, for example, there was one I really liked where he had like a big swinging, like, you know, metal ball with spikes on it, a mace, right, or whatever it's called. And you time that right, and he throws it, you get the residual damage, and it's really nice. I like that one a lot. But then I later got one where he just runs over and picks up Mario and throws him at the enemy. I like that there's variety there. Of course, there are like some repeating ones where it's just like, okay, this is a more powerful version of what you already had, but I do like that. I will say, for the actual like gear being, you know, like clothing and armor, I understand it'd be a lot to ask for, but I always love in RPGs when you actually see a visual change in your character, even if it was just a different color swap, like Mallow's clothes turn red or something. I always like that kind of stuff. A little disappointed that wasn't the case here, but I get it. That is a pretty tall ask. That's a lot to ask for, but it would have been nice. Not super common in JRPGs. I think Xenoblade Definitive Edition had it, and then I guess Xenoblade 2 actually got it later on, but I would have liked to see that. So all in all, I freaking adored this game. It's definitely in my top 10 games I played this year. Really, really enjoyed my time with it. Definitely left a mark on me. And as I close off this video, I just have to say, like I said at the top, I get it now. I understand how you all have felt with the lack of personality in Mario RPGs, and I am sorry for ever doubting you. I'm sorry. I'm putting it out there. I was wrong. Because this is what Mario should be. This is what Mario RPG should be. Add the stupid characters that are only going to be in this one game, but they add so much personality. Please keep doing that. And, you know, with Thousand Year Door remake coming out next year, hopefully this sells well. Hopefully that sells well. And then from there, the future should be bright. I will say, I think now that I've done this, I have a couple of games I'm going to finish up. I'm playing through 14 right now, Final Fantasy 14. And I think I'm going to play that Dragon Quest game coming out next month. But after that, I think I'm going to finally play Superstar Saga. I've never beaten a Mario & Luigi game. I played a lot of Bowser's Inside Story as a kid, and I really loved it. But I think I'm going to play the Superstar Saga remake on 3DS. So, wish me luck. I know that's a little bit longer, so maybe a little bit harder for me to get into. But I'm feeling pretty high on these Mario RPG thingies right now. So that is going to do it for this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Have you been playing Mario RPG Remake? Do you plan on picking it up if you haven't been playing it? And if you have been playing it, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch reviews, news, content, coverage, all of that fun stuff in between. And follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. Until next time, folks. Peace.